let's dive into this, Lottie. You ready? You want to kick it off and kind of tell me, what's your impression of this first episode? Which, by the way, is called, the title of the first episode is "Glorious Purpose," and it relates to something that Loki likes to say.
Okay. Well, this of course I'm gonna start it off with this is of course non-spoiler. It starts off during technically Endgame, but honestly during Avengers. Uh,
The
you
first
know,
Avengers, very.
your first Avengers, like the moment when we were watching Endgame and Loki got away. Of course, that's how it starts off. So now you as the viewer, you understand what's going on, so you know that okay, this is they're going to expand upon this. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this first episode. It didn't start. It's see to me, this is more going back to what how WandaVision was. The first episode, not much real action happened, but there was a lot of plot building. This show is one of those shows that you cannot have your cell phone out texting somebody, you know, doing other stuff. You have to sit down and watch the show because there's a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of things they're going to say that if you don't pay attention, you're going to miss, and you're just going to sit there and say, "God, you got it." You might have to watch it twice because there's a couple of things that I watched about the first 15 to 20 minutes with with one of my friends. Then afterwards, I watched the whole thing by myself, and I was like, God, I missed that in the beginning. Dang, I missed that. How did I miss that? You know, because I wasn't paying full attention. And I feel like anybody who wants to watch this show, watch the show when you're fully settled down. Do not watch the show while you're eating. Do not watch the show while you're texting a friend. It's a show that you sit down and you completely digest so you can get everything that's happening. There's a lot of stuff happening in the background. There's a lot of stuff happening in the foreground. There's a lot of stuff what's happening with what they're saying as well. Really good. I love shows like that.
Hmm. Yeah. No.
I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, uh, I did get a chance to watch it. In fact, I watched it one and a half times. I meant to watch it twice before we talked tonight, but things got in the way. It's all good. I had to actually feed my face, so I couldn't. I didn't have time to totally watch it all. But the second time through was really for more for like note taking and whatnot.
Hmm.
So I watched it, and this is going to be maybe not the take that most people are going to be like, yeah, you know what? I thought it was good. Um, I, I looked. I think this may be an expectation problem on my part. I'm not saying that it's my fault that I wasn't jumping up and down about it. I thought it was very good, but not like great. I wasn't being like, oh, this is like super exciting. Um, I was expecting to be gripped a little more, and I feel like it just didn't quite. It didn't quite have the vitality that I was expecting from it, especially
Hmm.
considering where they started it off. They started off. He escapes, and he's and you see this in the trailer too. He escapes, and then he's in a desert, and then he gets captured, and you're like, oh, well, what the hell's about to happen? And it's an exciting start, and then it sort of bogs down a little bit, and there's a lot of fun banter and everything, and there's a fish out of water, and there's a someone who thinks he knows what's going on but doesn't really know what the hell's going on, and it's slowly dawning on him that his understanding of the world and the universe is painfully limited, and
Yep.
and that painfully limited view being opened up is humbling. And also he kind of gets to get a look at himself and like what the hell's what am I really going on about, and also you know maybe seeing seeing opportunity also. And I'm being very vague with all of this, but if you've seen even a little bit of a trailer, it's there's a group of people, and they police time. They go around policing time, and what do they want with Loki, and why is he Why are they even after him? Why are they after him in the first place? What do they need him for?
Mhm.
And who are they? What's their what's their goal? And you got Luke Wilson, not Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson in there, and who's his character? He's apparently an agent of this Time Variance Authority, and it's very much it reminds me of just a setup. It's the first, to me, if this were a movie, this is the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe 15. This is the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie where you're telling people who the players are and what's kind of going on, and this is the setup. It's the setup and the setting, and in that sense it works for me. But I was expecting a little more in terms of like maybe action, maybe some kind of something a little more vital as far as like the character, because I know Loki and I like Loki and I think he's a great character. There's nothing wrong with that, but outside of him you don't really get to know anybody else. You are sure you're introduced to people. You're introduced to Agent Mobius, and various other people in the TVA, but you don't know any of them at the end of this episode. And maybe that's the deal to me, is where are my stakes? Where are the where are they going with this besides we need you, Loki? So
Yeah.
to that end, like I said, I think they did a good job. I think it's got a great setup. It's a great premise. The TVA is an interesting organization. I think that the set designers, the people who designed the TVA, visually, they deserve a huge round of applause, because it's so fucking interesting to look at. And I think I wrote it. I put a tweet out about it. It essentially said something that they made something so fantastical. And let's see, I said that they made something so fantastical, like a multiversal time traveling organization, seem so mundane. Like
Yeah.
it was like you were.
Like they're bored with their jobs.
Yes, exactly. It's one of the one of my favorite
Which
things
is which
about
is
it.
yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of the show. Like, you know, when it just, he comes to grips with what's going on, and it's like, oh my God, these dudes have basically almost omnipotence, and it's like a desk job.
Yes, and I look at, and they lean so hard into it, because everything there, it looks like you're at the DMV, but not the DMV that you walk in today that has a kiosk and whatever. No, a DMV from 1975. It
Yeah.
all looks like that. It's so. It really is. They make it is one of the most amazing organizations in existence in the Marvel universe, and it looks like you're going to renew your driver's license, and then
Listen.
that's fun. It's so amazing.
One of my favorite parts, he was like, take the ticket. There's literally just me and the other guy. Take your ticket.
Yeah, and it does. And there's the other aspect of, again, the design on here. It's very creative. Like, they take a lot of their cues from things that actually existed, 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And so the little the what is it, the public service announcement video that they have, I was like,
Yeah.
it's the Jetsons or Flintstone. It's
Yeah.
just like little touches like that. It's very whimsical. And all, but they lay out, kind of what what they can do, and then then there's an enemy that they're having a problem with, so you're like, wow. And so again, I think just the setup and the premise, very intriguing. I'm curious about what's coming in the future. There's just a little something missing from this first episode that didn't quite grab me, like, by the throat and be like, watch this damn show. So, but I'm locked in. I love this shit. So I'm ready to see where they're going with it. So,
Mhm.
all in all, definitely you should watch it. I think It's absolutely worthwhile to watch, especially because it definitely relates to other Marvel stuff. So if you want to be caught up completely. So anyway, that's my non-spoiler. Oh, and before I say anything else spoilery, shout out to Tom Hiddleston for just kicking ass, kicking absolute ass as Loki. He's hilarious in this episode.
Yeah.
He's the Loki that I forgot. I forgot that this Loki. He, you know who this Loki is? This is the Loki that one. At a certain point, you realize this is the Loki that masquerades as Odin. In
Yeah,
Thor
that's like
Ragnarok.
yeah, this is what I had to tell my ex, like, cause she was going like, why is he acting like this? He wasn't acting like this before, and I'm like, you got to remember, this is the Loki that wasn't humbled. This is pre-humbled Loki. So in his mind, he thinks he's king. He's all this. I said if this was the Loki that started off in Infinity War, he would act completely different.
Right.
But this is pre-humbled Loki. So this is a Loki that feels literally like you guys are beneath me. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's it, and so Tom Hiddleston's great in this. I really enjoyed that, and I did like Owen
Hmm.
Wilson as Agent Mobius. He's I feel like I'm watching dude from Wedding Crashers just kind of interrogate Loki, but other than that, yeah, he's really good. So yeah, shout out to those guys. All right, that's our thoughts on on Loki episode one. It's entitled what was it? What is it called? Not terrible purpose.
Great purpose or
Glorious
something.
purpose. Glorious purpose. So you guys get out there and watch that if you haven't watched it already, and check that out, and then come back next week when we talk about that some more. So as always, you can reach the Super Not Funny Show on Twitter at Super Not Funny S1, and of course you can email us supernotfunnyshow at gmail.com. And hey, are you a member of the Super Not Funny Show family? What? You're not? Well, what the hell are you doing with your life, man? Make your life a little bit better by joining the Super Not Funny Show family. Hit that subscribe button. And of course, hit that notification bell to let you know when we drop new content. We do that every week. We're doing new reviews and new reactions. And of course, new podcasts. Until then, I have been Mo Thépuppét, your resident fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the great anime fan, video game enthusiast, and just lover of superheroes, my good friend LADI. Thanks again for joining us. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
See ya.